can do that moment. He could have just easily said, no, 55 years old, I'm 56 years old, I can never do that. What do you think
Yeah.
I am, a teenager?
Uh,
So that's the exact point I try to make to people is that, because you know what, Joe, the number one thing people say to me when I tell them I'm a stand-up comedian, the number one thing they say to me, sometimes they say, tell me a joke, but outside of that, the number one thing they say to me is, I can never do that.
yeah.
Oh my God, you get up on stage and tell jokes. No, I could never do that. And then I started to think when I've told people I do hot yoga or at a half marathon or whatever,
Right.
I'm hearing it all the time now. People say, I can never do that. And we have to be able to turn that on its head and have those I can do that moments and get on the surfboard.
So true. And what you were speaking of here, you're talking about the growth mindset compared to the fixed mindset. The I can do that moment is so growth. Did you ever read Carol Dweck's book, Mindset?
Yeah.
Yeah, that book, if I put time, not saying I'd be the greatest in the world or even be good, but I could probably get decent at it if I put the proper work in and did the hundreds of
Mhm.
hours it took to get there. And then when someone goes, well, I could never do that, that fixed mindset, I feel bad. When anyone mentions their age and something that's, they'll say, oh, I could never, I'm too old for jujitsu. And they're 45 years old. I'm like, I know 70-year-olds on the mat. Are you kidding me? I know people are 65 that are beasts on the mat. Granted, they have to watch themselves when they're rolling with 25-year-olds. Just
Yeah.
when you say, well, I'm 40, I could never surf, like that fixed mindset, you almost feel bad. Jeffrey Gitomer, you mentioned his name. He was a guest on the
Yeah.
show a few times. And he has a thing where about your comfort zone, your danger zone, where first you get in a groove in your comfort zone, which is great. But then you go long enough, that groove becomes a rut. And if you don't switch and you don't grow, that rut becomes a grave. So it goes groove, rut, grave. And that's what something you're trying to get to not happen with that just open mind, give it a shot. I can do that moment. That is so cool.
I get asked to do a lot of different comedy shows. And one of them, someone reached out to me about doing a show for patients with traumatic brain injuries. Not just traumatic brain injuries, but it was a rehab place up in the Lehigh Valley. I got there, Joe, and there were people coming in wheelchairs like a parade. And there were like 36 of these motorized. Some of them were on vents, trach tubes, everything.